Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 79. And this is a historic episode for us because we have our first returning guest. Because joining us this week, once again, will be the one and only SNES Drunk. Alex, how you doing, my man?
Because this idiot had internet problems last time, and we have to redo it because he doesn't know how to use Xfinity. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, sorry about that. I had some technical issues last time. I appreciate you having me back on, though. That is very nice of you, and I'm very happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming back on.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We were first like, is everything okay? Because it just went out, and we've had buddies where like. We're like, did they pass out? Did something happen? So we're like, I hope he's okay.
No, I tried switching over to my hotspot, and then I kept getting messages from Verizon saying my data was out because it's the summer in Albuquerque. It's a whole thing where you get somebody from Xfinity out here, and you guys aren't sponsored by Xfinity, are you?
No. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, they come out and they get their guy, and he puts his hands on his hips and looks at at something outside and goes, "Well, there's your problem." And it's like, what? And it's like, "Oh, your thing is overheating over here, needs the proper shielding and all this stuff." And it's like, okay, fine. And they do that, and then it's the exact same bullshit the next week. And it's like, come on. It's so frustrating because it's like you finally get a guy, you get their blessing to bring somebody out here, which is hard enough. It's like getting a doctor's appointment out here in Albuquerque, which takes forever. But they come out here finally, and it's the same old stuff. And it's like, what do? You switch to your hotspot for Verizon, and then it runs out, and then what do? You got nothing. So, yeah, happy to be here.
So what you're saying is you live in New Mexico and they didn't plan for heat. Sounds smart. Sounds like typical Comcast.
Yeah, seriously, the little I don't know how they do it. I don't remember how they did it back when I lived in Minnesota. But the way they do it out here, they have these little like hubs. They're almost like fire hydrant looking things that are next to the curbs on the street. And they bury the wire underneath there next to the house. This might be like technology from like 1986 for all I know. But they might be like running it next to like the phone wire or something. I'm not even sure. That would make sense to me, honestly, because Albuquerque is a very poorly planned city. But yeah, it doesn't. It regularly has happened like every summer now, especially in August and September at like between, I would say, 3 p.m. in the afternoon and like all the way till 8, because it stays hot as shit all the way till 8 or 9 at night.
Jesus.
Man, you really like you went from Minnesota to New Mexico. You really like your extremes. You can't just be in the middle, can you?
Can't just screw around, you know. You can't. I don't screw around. I just wanted to. It's mostly my dog Clyde. He hated the winter so much in Minnesota. He's like, I want heat. When he would lay next to the fireplace at my parents' house, he would lay so close to the fire it was like burning my hand when I pet him. Practically, he's a heat magnet. So I'm like, okay, fine, let's move to the hottest place I could think of. Let's go to New Mexico. So I did. So I did it for Clyde. Actually, no, that's all bullshit.
I'm calling shenanigans on that story, you son of a bitch. No, but thank you once again. We do appreciate, like you said, we understand. Jim and I, all we have are technical issues when shit gets rolling in a certain way. So we fully appreciate it. But glad to have you back. We have some new topics, some ones that we saved from last time. But as we started last week, what is everyone drinking tonight? And Alex, we're going to start with you.
I have a Lagunitas Lil Sumpin' Ale.
Great beer.
Yeah, it's a 7.5, and it's just the right amount of bite for me. It's not one of those like crazy 9 point whatever IPAs, but yeah, no, I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, and that bottle, like that's one of those bottles I always say, like, if you're not a big beer person, there's something attractive. It's that old school kind of poster with the girl, like, kind of pinup looking.
Yeah.
And the writing looks good. So, yeah, that's one of the, actually, when we first started the site, that was one of the first beers I remember, like, once we started really getting into craft stuff. I tried and thinking, damn, this is pretty good. So yeah, that's always a return for me.
Right on.
What about you, Chambers?
Tonight, I am drinking the Blackberry Smash. It is a sour ale with blackberries and rosemary added. Comes to us from the J. Wakefield Brewing, and 6% alcohol by volume, so nothing too crazy. But one of my many, many sours that I enjoy. And actually, that J. Wakefield is the one that I had that South Park looking beer from over the weekend. And that just, like, jumped up as one of my favorite friggin' sours I've ever had. So far, J. Wakefield does me no wrong.
But did you say this one has rosemary?
Yep.
It's a little weird. But...
Sour, blackberry, rosemary. So, I don't know. Tastes good to me. Gives it a nice little reddish hue to it.
Interesting. And tonight I'm going.
Smells like berries.
Thank you, Jim. Tonight I'm going with the Free Will Brewing Companies, which is a PA local, so we always like these guys. Their Scarecrow Autumn Spiced Ale with vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice. This is one of the better fall beers when you don't want to go to a pumpkin beer. It's kind of that in between. It has a lot of good flavors. It's only 5%, so it's super easy to drink. But it comes in these big boy cans, which is nice. So yeah, this is like an easy drinking beer for me.
Right on.
Now, with that, Alex, since last week, I know you had mentioned some games you were playing in anticipation for reviews, but then some you were just kind of playing on the side. So,
Yeah.
Have you played anything new since last week?
Well, I've gotten into Fall Guys for some dumb reason.
Because it looks fun.
Yeah, I've just I blame my friend Trav and his friends for my podcast co-host rather, Trav from Drunk Friend. He kind of dragged me into it, or his friends did rather. So we were just having like one of those like Discord nights where we all jumped on a game just to play it, and I'm just like, this is like big dumb fun. I like it a lot because it's just you're this little mushroom guy and you're playing these mushroom guy. I was gonna say marshmallow guy because it's like he's got like this like marshmallow physics behind him, and he's bouncing around, getting batted around by all sorts of stuff, and it's super fun because everybody's usually on a level playing field. It's a pretty evenly balanced game. If you play online, though, there's quite a bit of hilarious cheating that's not at all obvious.
As I've heard.
Yeah, no, some people like magically bounce back after, like, they're impossible to eliminate from stuff. Some people immediately fly from the start line all the way to the end, like through the. It's so I've seen such ridiculous crap so far. That's been kind of a guilty pleasure. I also love sports games, and I'm kind of worried about the NFL season this year not happening, so I've started playing a season on Tecmo Super Bowl for Super Nintendo with my hometown Minnesota Vikings. And
nice.
I'm 2-0 so far. I've beaten the Raiders and the Bears. Had a close call against the Raiders. Kicked the crap out of the Bears, though. And so I'm 2-0. Yeah. I was playing that earlier today, so.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the shit's gonna go on with the NFL. I mean, I'm sure they'll play. If hockey, if baseball, if basketball's back, I'm sure they're gonna play. So.
Yeah, it's just tougher to organize because there's like 53 people on a roster. So that's
true. Yeah,
you got everybody standing on the sideline, and it's just a little bit. The degree of difficulty is a little higher, but
and they're not doing a bubble either. Like they're still planning on traveling, just no crowds.
Yeah, it's been a disaster. Baseball didn't do a bubble, and that was a disaster. So and now they're going to a bubble for the playoffs. But it's worked. I mean, I think the NHL now is on like week number 6, and they haven't had a single.
Cases.
Yeah, single positive case, and it's like, what the hell are you guys doing right? So I hope the NFL takes notes from good old Gary Bettman over there and finds out what they're doing. But anyway, that's a little too sportsy, I guess.
No, the secret is the ice. It kills the virus. Everyone doesn't know that.
Yeah, you just get like horrible bouts of strep throat and pneumonia instead of coronavirus.
Got to pick your battles. What can you say?
Right, yeah.
How about you, Jim? You son of a bitch. You been allowed to play anything?
Yeah. No, I've been playing a lot of retro because I'm putting together some videos for us But as far as new stuff goes, I actually finally started digging into Hotline Miami, which is something I've wanted to get to
good
for
stuff.
a long time. But, yeah, I have the collection, so I've started going into the first one, and I suck at it. But, because I'm not a patient boy, so I'm on like the third level, and I'm just like dying left and right. I'm like, what the fuck? All of a sudden, this just got really hard, but I'm having a blast with it.
Do you have multiple physical copies of that game?
Maybe.
God damn it, Jim. I knew you would have multiple physical copies of a game you never played.
That's how I got them. I got the physical copy.
You son of a bitch. All right. Well,
are you guys familiar with those like this is a weird analogy, but are you guys familiar with those like labyrinth marble games where it's a wooden thing, you place a marble on it and it's a maze?
Yeah.
You have to tilt it.
You have to guide the marble through by tilting it. That's how I think of Hotline Miami, because it's top down and you have to like navigate your way through all this crap from that perspective, and it's so freaking hard at first. Like, you do the labyrinth game thing and it falls down the first hole like the first like 20 times you do it, and it's like, god damn it, how do people do these things? And that's my labored analogy anyway. But yeah, if you keep at it, you'll get good at it.
Yeah, it seems like I have to like find just that like perfect strategy for like, okay, open the room now, wait for this guy now, throw this at this guy now.
Yeah. Doesn't help that there's all sorts of different enemy types that are always, changing as you go. But yeah, no, you'll get good at it the more you play.
So I've never played Hotline Miami, but I did beat Party Hard, which is the best way to describe it is a serial killer version of Hotline Miami. It's the same exact idea, though. It's top down. You usually enter into a party or some big crowd thing. You have specific targets you have to kill, or you have to kill everyone. And there's a whole bunch of different enemy types, and it is about strategy. And I love that game. It was just, once again, kind of not just like Fall Guys, but it's just stupid fun. Like, you don't care about the story. You're just doing it, and you're just seeing how ridiculous you can make these kills be.
Yeah. That's always
But
fun.
that game is great. So if you do enjoy Hotline Miami, I would highly recommend trying that game.
Nice.
And the soundtrack's phenomenal in Party Hard.
Oh, yeah. One of the best. It's like techno, and it just, yeah. For such a small kind of indie title, it was great.
Yep.
But yeah, no, so this week, I don't know what came over. I've just been on a frigging craze of playing Dead by Daylight. It's a game, it's an asymmetrical game, kind of like if you ever played Evolve or Friday the 13th. Or any game like that where it's basically a killer versus 4 people. I talked a little bit about last week, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But for whatever reason, I just keep playing the shit out of that, and I haven't really sunk much time in anything else. I am pissed because I have Game Pass, and for a while there, I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and I thought it was awesome they have it.
Oh, yeah, they're taking that off soon.
Yeah, it's coming off September 7th, and
yeah,
I've maybe put 6 hours to 8 hours if I'm being generous.
Uh-oh.
And that's a game that takes over 100 hours. So there's no way I'm going to do it. So I'm just already cutting it off for me. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I played enough. And from the little bit of time I played, I'm already at the point where unless it's pretty cheap, like gets in the 20 or less range, I'm not paying more for it. Like, it's been fine, but I don't have the time to sink into a game like that. So,
yeah.
Cutting that out of my life. All right, Chambers. So, what do we got from Patreon?
Well, Brian, before we get into that, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every episode of this Power Hour podcast.
Just $2 a month?
Just $2. You'd be a sucker not to do it.
Thank you, everyone who does contribute. We truly appreciate you all. It means the world to us, and we really appreciate it.
All right, definitely. And first up, from our buddy Gamer Astral, or Astral, as Alex likes to say, favorite SNES sports game.
I know that guy.
Yeah, dude, he's like the one who's like, you should have SNESDrunk on. You should have SNESDrunk on. I was like, I'd love to have him on. And he's like, let me take care of this. And then he put the tweet out there that you were like, what? Huh? Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Blame him. Yeah,
I know, right?
It's his fault.
His goddamn
Everybody
fault.
listening.
You the man, Gamer?
Favorite Super NES sports game. I wonder what Alex is going to pick.
NES?
Or Super NES.
What's this NES stuff? Oh, Super
Yeah.
Nintendo? Oh, yeah. Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. No doubt.
That,
Because it's the best sports game of all time.
well, so I was actually going to say, because my brother was the one that was into sports, he had the Sega Genesis, but we did have the Super NES, and Ken Griffey was his favorite player, so that was one he was willing to play with me since I had the Super NES. That was, like, for a while there, my favorite, because that was the only game I could kind of hold my own against him. But outside of that, I would probably be Super Tecmo Bowl, because I got that for the system. And then for a while there, I was a bit obsessed with Mega Man Soccer, but it's not that great of a game, but it's something I just have a lot of memories with. But as far as the best of those three, I think Ken Griffey's the best game that I had played for the Super NES. But nostalgia, whew. You know what? I'm going to stick with that too.
All right, fair enough. And oops, sorry, go ahead.
We're going Griffey. 2-0
Yep.
Griffey?
Don't worry,
Nice.
Jim's going to fuck it up.
Yeah, here comes the disappointment. But yeah, I didn't have a SNES growing up, and in all my backlog of going back and collecting for it and playing the games.
Don't you dare say golf. Don't you dare.
No. Not playing golf. I'm just gonna go with the best sports game I have right now, and it's gonna be NBA Jam. Not
Nice.
the best version of it, but damn fine version of it. So,
All right, that's respectable. Better than most of your answers.
how dare you?
No, you can't argue with that because you can put in all the codes to play as like Bill Clinton and like Heavy D.
Yeah, it's got
and all
those
those,
great
all those '90s, all the '90s icons.
Didn't
like,
it have
who else?
Scorpion,
I think you
too?
can play as like. Oh, did it have Scorpion? Maybe the arcade
I know
version.
one,
of it. I don't know.
one version of NBA Jam definitely had Scorpion. Yeah, Bill Clinton.
Probably the Genesis
I
one.
think. Yeah, no, that was definitely one of those ones that a buddy of mine had Nintendo Power or some magazine that he got that.
Right.
Yeah, that was always a fun thing to put those in there.
I mean, there were a ton. There were like mascots. There was like football players and stuff like that. It was crazy.
Wow, it had George Clinton. Holy shit. Warren Moon.
Yeah, not just Bill Clinton, George
Clinton. They're reaching with that one.
Well, you get Al Gore. When I think basketball, I think Al Gore. So there you go. And Mark Turmel. Jesus Christ. They really went all out. God, I love that game.
Of course, Mark Turmel, yeah.
But next up, from Game Whisperer Dean. Firstly to Brian, good tip on the chocolate porter to go with horror games. Tried it, and you're spot on. Guys, do you have any new games lined up for Twitch streams?
Yeah, I for this Thursday, for the Bloodthirsty Thursdays, I'm going to finish off that Blair Witch, which is not a great game, but I'm going to finish it. And I'm probably... I may bite the bullet and do Fall Guys. I just want to...
PS4.
I do have the PS4. It does look vaguely interesting, and everyone I see playing it seems like they're having a lot of fun, so I may just give it a try.
A lot of fun might be pushing it. It's fun. I don't know if a lot might be pushing it, but it is.
All right, so you just talked me out of it, so fuck that game.
Alex, were you playing on the PC where
No,
I hear
it's-
like the cheating's real bad?
Yeah, I'm playing on
You might be
Steam.
lucky on PS4, bro.
Yeah. There. It's the cheating is really kind of a bummer because once you get to the end, it's like there's no
Well,
point. I'm
That's
not
what
gonna win this.
I've seen tons of videos like you were saying, people bouncing, people turning invisible, people flying. Like, it's one of the bigger issues I always have with mostly run PC games, because I'm like, they're just breeding grounds for stupid shit like that. In a game that's competitive, when it is
Yeah.
that goofy, it's like, come on, man. Like, do you really need to cheat at a game like Fall Guys?
Yes.
I know what's going on in your life where you need to cheat at that game. Like, let's take a step back and evaluate things.
I
for a
need
second,
accomplishment.
okay? Like,
People need to win at
I know.
at any way possible, I guess.
it is pretty crazy though that the game has gotten so big that the dev team is pretty small. It's not a big company that's making this game, and they're trying to scramble to keep up. So they're working on making private forums, be a thing where you can have 5-6 people up to 10 people, however many, be in a gauntlet like that. right now that's not I think it's only up to 4
Huh.
right now, which is a major bummer. It's not the same at all when it's only 4. If you could do at least 10, that would work. But 4 is like half the games are just kind of, everybody survives. It's not all that fun, But that's just my opinion.
Nice.
But, yeah. No, it should be. Is it free on PlayStation Plus?
I don't know, because I'll have to check that out, because I mean, otherwise I would try it on my PC or my laptop. I don't know if it could run it the right way. I mean, I could always give it a try.
I think it was. I don't think it is anymore. Those were the two things I saw this past week. Was like Fall Guys was free. It won't be on PlayStation. It won't be anymore. And RDR 2 is going away, and everybody like freaked out. Like I've only put like just exactly what you said. I've only put 8 hours in it. Yeah. You're not alone.
By the way, is it just me, or does Fall Guys not seem like the perfect Switch game? Like that screams like Nintendo and Switch. I mean,
yeah, it's got kind of a Splatoon vibe to it with all the weird colors and the settings and the bounciness to it. Yeah.
That's one it blows my mind that PS4 and PC, that's it for a game like that. But they're making their money, so good on them.
I know Xbox is a pain in the ass with a lot of indie devs, but I am shocked that it isn't on the Switch yet. And it does look like it's that taxing of a game. Like, it should be able to do it.
It's not at all, yeah.
Nice. So, good question, Dean.
Yep, good as always, bud. Next up, from Alex Perez. Have you ever had something in your collection destroyed or damaged, either accidentally, dropped, spilled a drink on it, etc., or in a fit of rage, controllers? Ever lost something?
Nothing spilled. No games on purpose broken. Now, CD games, I've had some CD games that no matter what tricks I've used, they might not work as well. But controllers, I'm pretty sure I've snapped a controller in half with my hands through anger. Oh
my God.
He's got that strength, as they say.
You got that Andre the Giant strength right there. I mean, you can really tear a phone book in half.
I can get really worked up during games. That's calmed down pretty significantly, but Jim can attest. Yeah.
Sure.
So that's probably I can't even remember what controller, but I know it had to be something that was online multiplayer. So it could have been a 360 controller.
Like a Gravis pad. You're playing like an old DOS. You're playing an old DOS game, and it's like Rise of the Triad or something like that. And you snap it over your knee.
But
that would be me back in the day.
Luckily, I've contained my anger to just controllers. I've never gone to the point of like grabbing a game and like chucking it. I've never done that, but controllers were always my thing.
Yeah, that's a whole other level of like rage right there, to like stop what you're doing, march up to the console, tear it out, and then take the time to destroy. Like, you've got like a Rube Goldberg machine of anger going right there. And oh my God, like, I will stay out of your way if that's if that's your thing, because holy crap.
I mean, that's why Boogie got so big with his Francis character. You always see those tweets where people just go, "God damn it!" and then they take their good game and just smash the shit out of it with the console. But I mean, for me, I've broken a fuckload of controllers when I was a kid, because a couple years into being in our house, my parents decided to put a tile floor in the basement, and that's where the Sega Genesis was. And that's why I am very good with an N64 controller, because I spent my childhood with third-party Genesis controllers, because they would not spend the money on a real one for me. So, I had a shitload of high frequencies in my day, and those are like holding a football. So I learned to adapt. My thumbs learned to adapt over time, but never broke a game or anything like that, or a console. Surprisingly, I tend to take care of my shit because I'm the weirdo collector of the two of us. But controllers, they felt some wrath back in the day.
Mm-hmm. How about?
Yeah, I've never broken a controller. I've never broken a game or anything like that. I have had a game stolen from me though when I was a kid. because I did a game swap with a kid in I forget if it was 5th or 6th grade. I lent him SimCity for Super Nintendo, and he lent me Gradius 3 for Super Nintendo. And I brought the game back and left it in my locker because the kid called in sick. Been in the workforce too long. The kid's mom called in sick, I guess. But no, the kid was sick that day, so I just left it in my locker because I didn't want to play it again because that game pissed me off. But I left it there, and some kid stole it. So as a result, here's your mom logic for you. My mom talked to my friend's mom and was like, okay, now because he was irresponsible enough to leave the game in his locker, now that kid gets to keep SimCity. And I was like, that's a bunch of bullshit. What the hell is that? That's SimCity. That's way better than Gradius 3. That's not an even trade.
Yeah.
I know, right? And it's funny because I tell my mom that today, and she's like, I didn't know what the hell to do. That she was a freaking crazy person. Like, I had to tell her something. And it's like the more things change, the more
she was the original Karen. She was like, just shut the fuck up here. Keep the game. Keep the goddamn game.
Exactly. Yeah. What about my son's game? What about it? What about it? I can only imagine.
Damn. That sucks.
Yeah, no, I got over it. I ended up getting it back. Getting SimCity again, rather, I should say. And things worked out. And SimCity 2000 is way more fun anyway.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he adjusted well. He just went back and dedicated his life to the Super NES, so, he adjusted fine. It all worked out.
Dedicated my life. I don't know about that, but just to Griffey baseball.
All right,
not
fair
to
enough. That's fine.
Griffey
Acceptable.
baseball.
But yeah, good question, bud. And last up from our buddy, G to the next level. What is your favorite weapon in any video game, modern or retro? I think mine is the pipe from Streets of Rage 2. Motherfucker, that would have been my answer. So satisfying. Cheers.
Damn. That.
Wow. I think along those same lines, I might go with the pipe in the original Final Fight, just because of the sound it makes when you hit someone with
Especially
it.
in Streets of Rage, that thump.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in Final Fight, it sounds like you can hear someone's skull cracking. It's great. So that's my answer. It's the freaking pipe in Final Fight.
That is, shit, what the?
That is a really, really tough question. And I'm going to cop out to two answers. I'm going to go retro and new. For when it was, shit. Then it's killing me. I can't remember the exact name. But in Mega Man 2, when you get the blades.
Oh,
From Metal Blade,
Blade,
just because of how game-breaking that friggin' thing was, and as a kid finding that and like just tearing through every level and not caring, that was ridiculous. And modern, there's so many good ones, but one that's coming to my mind is from Call of Duty zombie modes, getting the ray gun. The randomness of finding that gun, and once you did, it was just so much goofy fun to use, and everybody looked for that weapon, so I'm just going to throw that out there. And the sound was ridiculous, and what it did to damage-wise to like the waves of zombies was ridiculous, so I'll go with those two.
All right, that's a good one. I think for... All right, maybe I'll copy you, Bri. I'll do retro and modern. So for retro, I'm going to go with the Super Shotgun in Quake 2, just because my favorite thing would just be going up to those normal grunts and one shotgun blaster blasting off into like 100 pieces. It was always so damn satisfying to do that. And when it comes to modern, maybe I'll rip off Call of Duty 2 and just say the AK-47 because that's my go-to gun in every game I play. Year after year, I'm just like, oh, when can I get the AK? When can I get the AK? When can I get the AK? So I'm a man stuck in a rut. What can I say?
Well, it's funny you said shotgun, because one of my thoughts right away was in any first-person or even top-down or side-scrolling shooters, shotguns are always like the most fun gun to use. Like, granted, there can be different styles, but that is just like in any game you get that, and you're expecting just ridiculousness, whether it takes out waves, blows people apart, or whatever. I feel like that's everyone's pretty much go-to favorite in games. Not saying it's the most useful, but like think about it in Splatterhouse when you get that. How much more fun is Splatterhouse once you get the shotgun?
Oh, God. Try beating Big Man without it. Good luck.
Yeah. But no, I love that question.
Or like Serious Sam, or all those games from like the early 2000s.
Even like Doom 2016, like both shotguns. It's got 2 of them in there, and they're both fun as hell. And the sawed-off one doesn't even have a secondary like attack kind of feature. You're just blasting people stronger, so you're just taking out waves of people with one shot. Like, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Shotguns are just they're perfect for video games. But no, that is a great question. But god damn it, that's a hard one, because I know as soon as this is over, I'm gonna think of a million other weapons that are my favorite.
I'm surprised you didn't go any like sub-weapons from Castlevania or anything from like Resident Evil or shit like that.
I thought about that, but like I can't zero in on 1 or 2. Like from Castlevania, I love the cross just because of its usefulness.
Right.
But from like other games, it's just like it's very situational, and it's tough. But like I said, I love that question. So good job, G. Thank you.
Yep. And with that wraps up the Patreon questions for this week.
All right. So
once again, thank you, everyone.
You are going to have to explain what this next one is.
Okay, so we got sent 2 beer studies. They're like from our buddy Rhinestone on Twitter. So apparently the first one is called Mommy Drinking on the Rise, a study. And apparently moms are binge drinking more, but all women are also drinking more, a study finds.
Yeah, and when I was reading the study, it basically says all people are drinking. Basically, there's been a pretty significant increase in binge drinking from 2006 to 2018. And it's just that number's gone up. Now, interestingly enough, you and I have talked, one of the things that's happened over that time is the number of craft breweries opening up and beer gardens and things of that nature have been like the highest growing what's the word I'm looking for? The highest growing company or thing in the U.S. because like it went up something like crazy, like 200% the number of craft breweries and these beer gardens. So people are definitely drinking more. It's weird that the title makes it sound like moms are drinking more, but then almost immediately it kind of just says, no, that's not true. It's this and that. So it's like one of those very clickbaity shits.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like back in the day, moms probably drank too, but it was probably a little less social. So now I think this shit is just more out in the open. And girls are putting shit on Instagram like, can't wait to get away from the kid and drink this wine or do this or do this. So it's probably the optics are also up now too.
Yeah, this is from 2019, so they're saying a recent like media trend. So I don't remember. Well, I don't really watch the news either, but I don't remember there being some big study about like, oh my god, moms are vicious drunks anymore. But I think my favorite fact from this is the fact that the only group that went down over that time was men between 18 and 29 who had children. Their binge drinking went down. So who knows? Maybe the guys who had a little bit of a whoops in their younger years went, shit, I gotta be responsible for a bit.
That's what I take away from that. Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was kind of interesting too. Or they're getting told by the women who want to go out and drink that they have to stay home.
They actually, I'm looking at it now, it's NBCnews.com actually linked the scientific abstract for this, and it says heavy and binge alcohol drinking and parenting status in the U.S. from 2006 to 2018. Yep. It's a cross-sectional survey for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, why did they pick out moms? Because there's not a whole lot here that directly points to mothers. It's a survey for everybody. It's one of those like, ooh, what minuscule thing can we pick out of this and get clicks from?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting though, but I can tell you my drinking has it's funny though that you bring up the rise of breweries, because especially with apps like what is that the big popular app called?
Yep.
Untapped. Yeah, I don't have it. I probably should, but I see it all the time. I see like the notifications on Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, it's almost like collecting Pokemon at this point, where it's like you're collecting rare beers and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, I've had this and I've had this and I've had this.
Brian can attest.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, I am such a challenge-based person that like getting that. I'm I'm almost at my 1,000 unique beers tried. So like,
Yeah, see, that's kind of why I have to stay away from that, because I would totally. It's why I stayed away from World of Warcraft 15 years ago, because I knew I would just dive headfirst into it and it would consume my life. And I was like, okay, I can't let that happen. Just like Untapped, like I can't let this happen. I have to stay away from it, because I know I'll be drinking. Just earlier today, I saw a rainbow sherbet beer. Like, you got to be freaking kidding me! Like, what the hell is that? That's not beer.
It's a dessert.
That's just an
It's a tasty treat.
Yep.
Delightful.
Listen, when we were kids, there was still the remnants of Joe Camel, who enticed us as a young age with
The Marlboro
coolness and
Man.
things.
Hey, Joe Camel's a classy guy.
And
He's the life of the
nowadays-
party. Don't you want to be like him? Come on, kids.
And now we're all getting addicted to these things because of things like what you saw, or Lucky Charms beer, or donut flavored beer. Like, it's the same idea.
Lucky
It's like, dude,
Is that
Yeah.
it does.
Oh,
Can I
yes.
have that somewhere,
There's a-
please?
there's a
Oh,
Lucky
man.
Charms, there's a Dunkaroo beer, and then
Uh-huh.
one that I saw today, which I don't know what the hell to think of it, but it is literally a beer brewed with Mountain Dew syrup and other stuff, and it's
No!
it's friggin' green.
No!
It's ridiculous.
Gimme.
What does it have, like
That's what
Doritos mixed in it too?
as soon
or
as I saw
something?
that, I was like,
oh,
"Do you
God.
salt the rim with Dorito dust? Like, what are you doing here?"
Does it come with a machete so you can just like chop your toes off from the diabetes you're gonna get from it?
Oh my God, that's awful. Ugh.
But that's what I'm saying. They're going to
terrible.
attract, like, they have a beer for. If there's a flavor out there of something you like, chances are there's a beer.
You
for
know,
it.
now you're getting me going. There's going to be like a Chick-fil-A beer. There's going to be a KFC beer.
I'm kind of shocked there aren't already.
We're just at the precipice.
You're not wrong, and all I can say is you're not wrong. They've sampled flavors of crazy shit in beer, and yeah, don't worry, you'll have your KFC with extra gravy beer.
I give it a month before Brian comes on with like a breast milk stout. Like it's just a
Yep.
matter of time at this point.
Wait, you mean that's something you guys haven't had? What are you talking about?
Hey, we're both dads. Homemade.
You guys don't have that Untapped badge?
What are you
Come
talking-
on.
It's called the Milker Award. Come on.
God damn it. I wish I kept up with Untapped back in the day, but that would be an unhealthy obsession for me. Because, like, Brian, you started in, like, we were both going to try and start it back in, like, 2013 when we
Yep.
started the page. But then, like, I was impatient, and I was like, fuck this app. I can't figure it out. And then you're like, you literally click 2 buttons. And I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, no, you're willing to invest hundreds and hundreds of dollars in time into like Marvel card games online that I introduced you to.
It wasn't hundreds and hundreds.
But literally an app where you just click, type in the beer, put it in rating, and the one reason I do it more than anything, like the badges, like honestly, you unlock badges for stupid shit. It's like, oh, if you have a beer at a certain time of the day and you do so many times, or if you have beers from Canada or Europe. So it's like you get badges, which mean nothing to me at this point. What it does help me with is when I'm trying different beers, I'm always like, did I try this? And I look on my app, I'm like, oh, I did. So yeah, let me try something new. Or, oh, I gave this a really shitty rating.
Okay.
And sometimes it's like a good gut check because I'll try a beer knowing I've tried it, and I want to see if my old rating matches up with what I would think of it now. Now that I've tried so many more beers, like obviously your taste changed like with anything else, so I kind of like it for that purpose. But for a while there, I was literally, every time we go to bars, I'm like, let me get a flight of every type of beer in here because I got to fill out this Untapped. And it was just more like, yeah, like, you know, Pokemon or something. Like, I got to catch them all. So...
I can see how that's a really good point though. Is like I've had this before. I have a really poor memory for drinks and for food and stuff like that. Like, wait, do I like barbecue flavored Fritos? I can't remember. I hate. And then you buy them and I'm like, oh, I hate them.
Fritos
That's
are
right.
always the
Oh,
thing
okay.
that you think you're gonna like, and honey barbecue might be the only one that's okay.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're like, oh, this was just I could have just got
Yeah.
Doritos or something else that was so much better.
Yeah. And they have to be the twists.
Regular
They can't be
Fritos
like the
can
regular
suck
Fritos.
a dick in hell. They're terrible. But yeah, no.
Bri, don't offend the hell dick suckers.
Well, I'll throw him some Fritos.
You don't want to ostracize
Exactly.
the hell.
That could be our niche
audience.
that finally gets us famous, Bri. And look what you did.
We pissed them all off.
Oh, well, another one to the list.
No, but that study, you could literally, like you were saying, Alex, because it's worldwide, you could also say gamers are on the rise for binge drinking. Like, you could just, since it's everybody, you can literally pull any group out and say it's on the rise.
I think
Yeah.
they went with the headline that
seems
would get
like
the most
it.
Facebook clicks. That's what my theory is going to be on this one.
Yeah. No, it definitely is, because they're
Probably.
like, how dare you? You're offending mothers. You're telling them. It could go down so many paths. But
yeah, I always thought that was a little interesting. So, yeah, we're all turning into vicious drunks. So, good on us. But on the other side of that, another story that got linked to us comes to us from the Wall Street Journal. Real quick, is yours locked behind a paywall?
of course.
Okay, here's a little...
I thought you were gonna ask. Are you guys subscribed to the Wall Street Journal? It's like
No. We're
no.
scumbags here. But here's a little trick. Here's a little trick for you.
should I
After
be?
WSJ.com, hit
Alright.
type a period before that first slash, and it unlocks it for free. Luckily, we're small enough that this won't let the normies know about it. So, enjoy this little hack for you.
Didn't do anything.
It didn't do it for you?
Nope.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
After the
After
.com,
.com,
But
put
before the
dive.
slash.
but before the slash.
Yeah. Put a period and then refresh.
Yep.
Full refresh. Control F5. Nope. Still says to read the full story. Subscriber sign.
Maybe.
in.
Okay,
Maybe
we need to block
the
it.
secret's out, Jim.
Ah, shit. Maybe
Jim,
it
you
is.
were that asshole who like convinced people there was like nude codes in games that it just none of it was true.
No, Brian. I was.
Sonya
I was the
in
one
Mortal
who got tricked by
Kombat.
all those new codes. I'll have you know, sir. I spent way more time than I ever should have, but I was goddamn determined.
Jim's like, oh boy, boobies.
I had to see my 240p fucking. I'm just gonna stop there. Either
But
way,
no, go ahead with this because I think we can ascertain what this is suggesting.
yeah. So for the classier people out there than us who have a thing with the Wall Street Journal, men are urged to limit their alcohol to 1 drink a day amid new concerns. So the long and short of it is, every 5 years, the Centers for Disease Control, they like to have their recommendations for dietary guidelines. And basically, before men could have 2 drinks a day and it would be considered fine. And they're dipping it down to once a day because we're all getting, all that stuff like heart disease and cancer and blah, 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 blah. All the problems that you can just drink away. So I don't see the point of this article.
I mean, here's the deal. Pushing aside any agendas or whatever anyone's going to say. I always thought it was weird that guys were 2 drinks a day. And when I think I actually looked into it or asked it literally means that if every single day of the week you drink 2 drinks a day, that was saying it was acceptable. And to me, when you ask the question, well, what if you just save all 14 drinks for one day? Like,
Now you're binging.
In theory, you could still do that because it's really supposed to be the average of the amount you drink over a whole week. So that's where I'm like, that seems like a lot. Like, depending on what your drinks are. So that's 14 whiskeys in one day. You're dead.
Well, Bri, thankfully for your point, there's a thing called lobbyists. And the alcohol lobbyists have said that is the problem they should be looking at is the binge drinking instead of the more consistent drinking over time. Because they would have nothing to gain by people drinking every day.
I don't know, man. I don't know about you two, but especially now, like, I guess I could get away with 1 or 2 drinks, but, like, if I'm going to drink, I want to sit back. I want to really enjoy myself. I'm not looking to get drunk, but I also don't want to worry about limiting myself. But I don't know if I'd want to drink every single day because if you start drinking, I feel like it's one of those things where you want to keep going, or it's just like it's going to make you feel just shitty enough where you're like, why did I even bother having that drink last night? Like, so it's like, I don't know. What do you think, Alex? Where are you at on this?
I'm with you. I can't just once I get started, I need to like see it to its end. I don't I see it as a journey, I guess. I don't know. I'm not one to talk because my tolerance is just like freaking through the roof these days. Especially drinking at high elevation here in Albuquerque has raised my tolerance even further, which is it's just been absurd. But I'm interested in the lobbyists. I'm convinced some of those lobbyists are from Amazon and eBay that are like, hey, what about all the drunk purchases that are going to be made on our website?
Yep.
That we need people spending $400-$500 on Super Nintendo cartridges. I have never spent that much on it. I swear on my dog's life I've never spent that much on it. But
there's always a chance there. Yeah.
That potential is there because of stupid freaking sellers that jack up those prices, but still.
No,
that's just true.
It's going to affect Ubers, and it's going to affect restaurants. It's going to affect it all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. it's a chain reaction.
There's a whole economy based around those mommy drunks we just talked about.
Yeah, but they're not men, Jim. So shut up.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I mean. So apparently the big things are it's linked to 6 different types of cancer by drinking more than 1 drink a day. So 4 of them are for men, and the 2 for women are breast and esophageal, which, I mean, I'm a fat guy. I could probably qualify for that breast one, so I don't know. I guess it's time to cut back on this one. But yeah, so you can get esophageal, stomach, liver, head, neck, breast, and a whole bunch of other shit besides heart disease and blah, 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 blah. And then it's really just about the lobbyists going back and forth yelling about, no, you're the problem. No, you're the problem.
Yeah. I think the safest guideline is if you wake up feeling like shit more than once a week, you probably might want to alter your stuff.
You might have more problems than just, your 1 or 2 drinks a night.
Stay hydrated, folks. Like, drink water. Drink a lot of water, okay?
That's right.
And don't give me this, what do you call it? What's that stuff called? Arizona tea stuff. That's not water. Drink water, okay? And water, I don't know. Not Gatorade, not
any of that shit.
Any of that shit. Yeah, exactly. Not Nestea.
Yeah.
But I'm getting electrolytes.
No, the only thing you can do that legit works is if you are hungover, if you go with Pedialyte or coconut water for electrolytes and rehydration. But outside of just plain ass water, like anything else you're drinking is probably hurting you more than it's helping you. So, yeah, hydrate your ass with every drink. The good thing is, you have a drink, try and have a water. Just go balance it out.
I'm old school. I just go 2 Advil and a black coffee. I'm like a guy from the 50s. I've got like a belt of scotch in my desk that I drink at noon when I meet with my clients. And I'm just like,
and you got your Marlboro Reds in your sleeve. You're good to go.
In my sleeve, yeah. You're like, it's time for a heater. Let's go.
Yeah.
He's watching Mad Men. He's just like, this is my everyday life. I don't get the appeal of the show. Yeah, or if you're a beer bitch like me, just get some weed. That'll cure your hangovers.
No, but thank you, Ryan. I do like those articles, so appreciate it.
You don't want to trip balls on that sativa.
All right, and we're back. And before we move on to any more topics, guys, how are your drinks treating you? Alex, how are you enjoying that little something?
It's almost gone. And next to it here, I've got a Stone IPA ready to roll. And I love anything from Stone. And it's a 6.9, which is very nice.
Wait, you mean Keystone, right?
I wish. I got a cooler full of Natty Lights under my desk here. Yeah, I wish.
No, we mentioned that because there's actually a lawsuit that we've been going back and forth covering for the past 2 years between Stone Brewing and Keystone. Yep.
Yeah.
Stone
Brewing is killing Keystone because Keystone had switched their cans from what they used to look like to that one where it says Key and then Stone.
Oh my God,
really
that's hilarious.
Large. And Stone Brewing was basically trying to make the case that, hey, that's confusing people wanting to buy our beers. And it's funny because what Jim and I were saying is if you're ever in a beer store, Keystone and Stone Brewing is never going to be close enough to each other that you would make that mistake. And also, a lot of craft brew, bottle shops, I don't know how it is in Albuquerque, but out here, no craft beer stores carry any Keystone. Like, you just have actual craft beer. So, yeah, it's. I mean, and the interesting thing is they've moved the case to the next level where it might actually gain some traction. So
that is
we're interested
freaking
to see
funny
where that
as
goes.
hell. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Keystone tried to get it thrown out, and the judge was like, he basically went to Stone, and he's like, this is kind of a bullshit argument, but I want to see where it goes. So it's actually like it might actually go to trial. He gave it the come on, guys, but
because
it's gonna be a thing.
That's the exact point, though, is that when you walk into, I mean, what do you have to walk into to even find Keystone in the first place? It's not even a grocery store; it's a freaking gas station. Like, it's not a liquor store.
Exactly.
No liquor store is gonna sell Keystone. It's gonna be a freaking, a 7-Eleven or like a Texaco or something. And it's going to be to the left of the Bud Light and the Budweiser, and it's going to be right next to Natty Light and all that sort of stuff. And then,
next to the Genesis.
But could you imagine if somebody was a big enough of an idiot to be like, I thought this was Stone Brewing. Like, I'm so confused. Like, that blows my mind. But yeah, I had to throw that in there for Jim.
I got to...
Thank you, Brian. Keystone is my cheap beer of choice. So, like, if I'm not drinking craft, like, that's my go-to.
I can't tell you the last time I saw Keystone for sale. I don't know if it might be a New Mexico thing. I have not seen it in a really long time because...
That's why the lawsuit's bullshit.
I've seen Natty Light. I've seen, what's the other one? What's the other fun? Oh, Milwaukee's Best, rather. Yeah, that's another one.
Yep.
That's another
that's
one.
My dad's.
It's more Midwest, but you do see it occasionally in.
We have Beast out here.
But
Jim,
do you guys have
here today without Beast.
what do you call it? Black Label out there. Black Label. Black Label is a Canadian, the Canadian version of like Keystone Light. Basically, it's really crappy. You can buy like a case of it for like $6 or whatever.
No, we get like Bush and Lion's Head, which is like on the upper side of like the cheaper beers. We get the Natty Bows. We get the. I mean, if you're in the area around here, you'll get like the Ortliebs or the Kenzingers.
Oh, Kenzinger.
Like that.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that brings back good memories. Or I should say bad memories of tech school way back in my early 20s. Oh my god. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, and Narragansett, obviously, because of Jaws, like, guys' popularity there, but it's just...
Narragansett's that beer because, like, before COVID hit, like, I play in a band with my brother, and we'd go around Philly playing bars. And the cheapest beer there always is going to be, like, a pounder of Narragansett for, like, $1.50 or $2. So, of course, you just start slamming those all night.
Oh, my God.
And then you think you're Quint.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so I finished my beer. As I said, I love Scarecrow. It's really good. I'm actually moving on, though, to one I've talked about. I don't know if I've done it on the podcast, but the Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA.
You did that a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6.7%. It's, as I said, it's so goddamn middle of the road for an IPA that I wouldn't recommend it unless you just want an excuse to say you've had Stone Cold's beer. So, yeah, nothing special to talk about with that one.
And Bri, I swear to God, I did not plan this out. So, what I have, like, I've talked about this for months now. I get these craft beer boxes in the mail. Monthly subscription box, you get a whole wide array of different beers and drinks. So, every time I get some out for the podcast, I put some new ones back in my mini fridge in the basement to get them cold for next week or whenever I drink. So, this one I pulled out is called the Things for Your Head Mango Hard Seltzer. 6.5% alcohol by volume. It's for your head, Brian. It's for your head.
I hate you, Jim.
And it's got like a three-eyed, two-mouthed cat as its logo. So,
of course it does.
And of course, because I'm a man of taste, I had to pour it out. So of course it looks like, doesn't even look that carbonated. It just looks like, it's basically like having water. You'll see on the camera when you go through this for maximum disappointment in me.
That's what most of Jim's fridge looks like. Sugar-free Smirnoffs, you got your goddamn White Claws, and now you got that.
I mean, As I take a sip of it, you get a little bit of the mango, and then it's better than a Truly or a White Claw. I'll give it that. Put a little more effort into it. But also, it's also like a good one of the gimmicks for these seltzers is that they're low calorie, and this is 170 for a pounder. So that's pretty on the high side for one of these hard seltzers. So you're not even getting that, Bri.
That's not helping your argument or your statements. You son
Look, Bri,
of a bitch.
They're refreshing. They're delightful.
Don't you dare.
They're low in calories. I don't see the problem here, Bri.
Maybe
if you leave it at the bottom of your fridge for 3 months and drink one, and then your throat hurts, maybe that's a problem. But
maybe what you should do is be more upset that you paid for this expensive, or your wife paid for this expensive craft beer per month, and they gave you a shitty seltzer.
I am a little surprised by that.
Yeah, you got taken for a ride, Jim.
I got hoodwinked. I got button hooked. Mm-hmm. What other old terms can I use?
You got Napoleoned, all right?
Nah. That is my luck.
All right, so, Jim, this article, which doesn't quite work fully, but we're going to do our best to go through, comes from your favorite site, Kotaku.
Love them.
And why don't you describe what it's trying to outline here?
All right, so the article is called How an Emulator Saved a Video Game Developer's Bacon. So the long and short of it is, and I put it on here because it kind of goes back to discussions we've had in the past about the value of emulation versus the legal ramifications, blah, 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 blah. But basically, a developer was trying to make a mobile port of Spy Hunter for phones. And like a lot of games from the time, the source code was just gone. So they were trying to make an arcade-perfect port of it. So what do you do in that case? But you go to what you have, and he went to MAME. He took the ROM off it that he found, and he was able to piece together a pretty faithful port of it thanks to that. And it was going to link to a Reddit post of his original whole story behind it, but the link don't work no more. So, yeah.
It is a pretty sweet story, though, that this dude, it's just a guy, this Feldman guy, Mark Feldman, that just did it himself. He's just like, screw you guys. I'm tired of all this legal red tape bullshit. I'm just going to do this myself because I want to play this on my phone, so I'm going to do it. And he did.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because this guy, he talks about how he was a developer for 15 years and that he had some, in the thing it talks about some of his anecdotes where he says, during my 15 years as a developer, I've seen publishers pull every dirty trick imaginable, from telling the dev team of a certain AAA title to remove all the black kids from the game because it hurt sales in Germany, to informing a small studio that they were only going to pay half of what they owed for work already completed, and then only if the studio signs a legal waiver first. So he's somebody who's been in the business. He's seen some really shady shit like that done. And yeah, this is a one for the good guys and kind of fights for why emulation, especially for a game that, is as old as it is. And this article was actually written in 2010, so 10 years old. This is probably when MAME was really picking up a lot more steam. At least I think so.
Yeah, I think that's when it started to get a little more known.
Yeah. So that was probably when the argument was the hottest, as far as, I think most people now, you have some people who are still very anti-emulator.
Dude, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised by how many people still go, well, it's not right because it's illegal and because, the original publisher is not getting money. Because people are still getting money off 35-year-old NES games or Atari games or shit like that. But go on.
Yeah, you and I have said, I don't agree with any emulation of current gen, or I'll even go as far as last gen. Don't emulate that shit. But NES, Atari, some of those systems that, like you said, those publishers are not making another dime. The only one that's managed to still make money off their old IPs is Nintendo, because they keep reselling it to everyone on Wii, on Wii U, on Switch, and on the NES Classic and Super NES Classic. So they're just going to keep recycling those games and making new money on it. But outside of them, most developers are not. So if you're not trying to turn around, emulate, get the ROMs, and sell them for a profit, I really still don't see the harm. So yeah, I don't know. Alex, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Not particularly. as far I just like Spy Hunter as a game. I would just want to play it on my phone. That's all. Honestly, God, that's all I care about is Spy Hunter, and I like Spy Hunter, and I think Spy Hunter's fun, and I want to play it on my phone. That's all.
And we're the end users. What do we really care about the legal ramifications of things? I mean, we just cut the brass tacks here.
Exactly.
We can pretend to be not scumbags, but I mean, come on now.
As long as it's
be
not
who you
like
are,
a Spy Hunter ripoff, you know what I mean? Like you can go on the Google Play Store or whatever format you have, and you'll find 3 or 4 ripoffs of every popular game that you can think of. And it's pretty lousy that you can't rebuild a Spy Hunter port from to be accurate as a Spy Hunter clone from what it originally was. But it's totally fine to go ahead and rip the game off 10 ways from Sunday or whatever the cliche is, or I don't know. But that seems wrong to me. But yeah, I like Spy Hunter and I would like to play it. Now I want to play some Spy Hunter. I want to play some Super Spy Hunter for NES. Have you guys played that one? That one's pretty good.
I think I've tried it.
It's
a few
pretty
times.
hard
Never
and it's
beat
pretty
it.
good.
I know that's for sure. Yeah.
Because that's the one where you go like into boats randomly too, and like onto other different kind of things.
That was the original Spy Hunter too, but no, this one is like a little more open ended, and yeah, it's not as like restricted and as ridiculously hard as the original Spy Hunter. That's all.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I think what do you call it? Pam.
She did.
And I was like, oh, this looks pretty good. I should get around to it.
Not too long ago. Yeah,
and I was like,
exactly.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, I should get around to this, and then I forgot like 10 minutes later. But it's on the list. I have enough shit sitting behind me right now that I still have to get to too.
It's always on the list.
And spend some good time with. The list never ends. Fuck. So yeah, no, it's just like as something we always talk about. I was like, all right, we can bring up the old emulation, the values of it once again.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Now?
But speaking of, I guess you could call it kind of not shady, but sneaky, just microprocessor. Or not processes. I got departed on the mind. Microtransactions of games for new developers, and Marvel's Avengers has come under a little bit of heat. It's catching some shit. For a paid battle pass for every superhero after launch. And for those of you who aren't aware, most multiplayer games, think COD, Fortnite, kind of pretty much any game that's coming out has some form of these battle passes, which are, some of them are done in seasons, some of them are just done as like long length challenges, and you can either pay a flat fee to unlock the entire thing, and then as you progress through the game, you have unlocks, or you can only unlock certain ones that are free. And while you're doing it, you, in theory, can earn this in-game credit. Now, a lot of times what happens is all the good shit that you really want, the only way you're really getting it is either through a tremendous amount of grinding or paying up front for unlocking the entire pass. And this one is no different. Now, what I don't like about the way this article is written, and it's from pushsquare.com, is it's a little misleading because it's basically trying to suggest that every time they release a new superhero, you're going to have to pay $10 to unlock all their challenge cards and their battle passes. It's not necessarily true because unlike other games where you have a time limit, these ones will never be locked out, so you can play all you want. Or you can unlock it over time. It just will take you a tremendous amount of time. So they're basically saying that every new superhero is going to cost you about $10 if you want to unlock all the different costumes, all the decals, all the moves for them. And
it's not even moves. It's all aesthetic stuff because they say
takedowns. The only thing. Yeah. So. Yeah, so you still will get the hero for free. So their example is the game comes with 6 heroes. But then the first hero to be unlocked or released is going to be Hawkeye. So he'll be free. His story is going to be free and everything he can do. But all these additional things you might have to pay for if you want the full unlocks for him. And this goes back to, I don't love it, but it is a way for them to make more money. And as we've seen many times, these bigger developers, I think that whole price point at $60, if they could find a middle ground and just say you're going to get all your shit for free for $80 nowadays, I think more people will be okay with that versus these kind of microtransactions where you got to pay $10 here for this, for that. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, that's just it, right? Like they're replacing microtransactions with macrotransactions. And it's like, that's what it sounds like anyway. Where it's like, okay, well, we're going to tell you up front with this sort of crap. It's kind of annoying because I guess when I think of games like this, I think of the target audience is going to be kids, right? And so they're just preying on these parents that are just like, buy me that. I like this superhero. Get me this. And it's like, well, that's lame, like, and the people that just want to play through the stories of the characters or whatever, and and it would be pretty. I would admit it would be pretty funny if when you get Hawkeye, he's just like grayscale, like you have to like pay like more money to get his costume in color. Yeah, and then when you get like the next character, it's the same thing where it's like you can only play with a left arm or something like that. So it's just incredibly stupid. Like, what's next? What are these guys gonna stoop to next? Like, it seems like it never ends. Like, what's the next level here? What is it? Are we paying for body parts? Are we gonna be, that's what it seems like. It seems like it's the next logical step. It seems stupid to me, but I don't really play a whole lot of modern stuff. Despite my Fall Guys confession earlier, but it just seems kind of dumb because it seems like it's never. On one hand, it's almost like that's kind of how comics have always been. Because when I think of comics, it's always next week. It's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
variant cover, foil cover,
yeah. Oh
Green
yeah,
cover.
Exactly. It's like, oh, now this one's got like a hologram on it, and it's got Magneto on it. It's like, holy crap, I've got to get this one. And yeah, it's
Wait,
yeah,
Magneto?
Uncanny X-Men 304. It was
eBay.
Oh yeah, no,
Don't mind me.
that was like the
No,
first comic
but-
I ever bought, so I know that one by heart.
But you're not wrong. So, I mean, I think what we saw is from last generation consoles, you had a lot of just DLC. It was a flat, in theory, like price, but you got like, here's everything that's included with the DLC. It would cost you anywhere from $5 to $20, and you knew what you were getting. And then a lot of developers, I think, caught shit for that, and people were like, why are you releasing this DLC? So a lot of people are saying, okay, we'll release the Prime content free. But like you're saying, they're kind of now like getting you with, well, if you want this costume, if you want this, if you want that, then there's all these microtransactions which turn into, they could be more than what the DLC would have been. So it's like, I think I feel like developers and gaming in general has worked under that umbrella of, a $60 game is the cost of a new game, period. Like, I can remember NES games. Isn't that, like, basically what their price point was? Like, I feel like that price point is just
Shit,
almost
I remember
always been.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo for
roughly.
Super Nintendo being $70.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's, like, always kind of been that price point, and somehow that's kind of crazy to think that back then a game for those systems was that much, and today for these AAA titles, like, we're paying the same amount. I think we just need to either accept that we should raise that price point and just accept that you're getting more, or, they're just going to find these shitty ways. And like you said, they're preying on kids who are just going to bug their parents, and they're like, wait, didn't I just give you $5 for this game, and didn't I give you another $5? So, yeah, it's very weird.
And I think that's where Alex brought up a good point with the kids, because when you read it, it's saying, if you grind and you do all the challenges for each hero card and you get to level 40 or whatever it is, if you max out, you'll get your money back, essentially. Like, they'll give you those 1,000 credits that you have to buy with the real-world money back.
Yep.
But he's right, though, because it is targeted to kids. And what kid's going to grind away at every single character to max it out?
Well, most kids, because didn't you grind the shit out of games when you were a kid?
Yeah, it's a good point, too. But I don't know. I don't know if kids have the same level of attention now as they did back then.
I would almost argue that the anti-grind is for people like me and you. Like, I have Call of Duty, and every season there's a battle pass that's only available for 40 days or something, and I don't have the time to actually get enough XP to get it all. So I think one time I did purchase it. Now, like they're saying, if you go through the entire battle pass, you will unlock enough money to make up the same exact amount, so therefore you can keep unlocking the future battle passes if you stay up on the game, which I never did after that. So I bought it once, I got my money back, I bought the second one, and then I didn't make up enough to do it again, and I was like, I don't care anymore. So, yeah, I feel like the grindiness is bad for people like us, but for a kid, I mean, if it is the main game you play, it might work. I don't know. It's weird.
At least it's not as bad as like Fortnite with its like different seasons and then being like, oh, guess what? Now you got to buy all these new skins all over again. So I don't think this is at least on face value to me, it isn't like as egregious as a lot of these other ones or all the DLC that came when Evolve first came out and shit like that. So I don't think it's that bad. Like, it's still the kind of thing that like the Jim Sterlings of the world can get their views out of by, faking rage about it. But it's still, like, I get why it's a problem, but to me, I'm just like, all right, like, it's bad and it sucks, it's the norm, but it could be 1,000 times worse. At least they're telling you how they're fucking you.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, Alex, so one thing I do, I always have this weird thing of coming up with hypotheticals, and I want to throw one your way. From this point and moving forward, if you had the option of you could never play Super NES again, or you had to give up all alcohol,
Giving up
which
alcohol.
one are you giving up? That was way too fast. God damn.
Wow. So much for that.
Because I'm not done with, I'm not done with Super Nintendo yet. I'm still looking at the rest of the catalog. I'm still looking at the stuff that never came over from Japan. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I still need to get into. That's the whole point of the channel. That's why I started this whole thing. Is like, I'm not done yet. That was my alternate name when I started. But, no, I still have a whole bunch of stuff. Even earlier today with just NES, I was looking at like Famicom games that haven't, like the sheer amount of Konami games that never got released in the U.S. is absurd. There's like 25 Konami games. It's like Gradius 2, that weird Splatterhouse game, Goonies. I was like, my jaw dropped to the floor. I was just like, what? And so I'm gonna have to do.
What's that one
Crisis
shmup, like
Force
Crisis
or something like
Core
that,
or Finals?
Yeah, that's another
Force,
good
something
one
like
that never
yeah.
came over. Who knows why? I guess shmups never sold all that well here, but oh man, yeah, no, there's so much stuff I still need to play and experience and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's an easy choice.
All
Interesting.
right, how about you can't drink again or you can't watch sports again?
Well, I mean, if I can't watch the Vikings again, I won't care because the Vikings always disappoint me anyway. So it's like, what? Yeah,
We're Eagles
so
fans.
it's
We
like,
know that
what's the
pain.
It's no loss there. But if it's baseball, that's really tough because baseball is 162 usually 162 games. The Twins are usually competitive. That sort of thing.
But let's be honest. How often are you watching baseball?
Oh,
and not
that's
drinking?
a tough one.
Haha.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with drinking there. Drinking over sports. No,
Yes.
if you
Okay.
had asked me that in my 20s,
Yeah, and-
I took sports way too seriously when I was in my 20s. I was one of those idiots. But now I need my break away from sports don't matter that much to me anymore. So
You do have that like encyclopedic knowledge of like random sports players. Like, I love when you go on your random Twitter threads of being like, "Give me the most random sports guy you know," and I bet I can one up it. And I'm looking at this shit like half the time I'm have to
no,
look up these player
I don't
names
say
to
I
throw
one
out.
up it. I just like saying like, hey, name me a player from like the California Angels from the early '90s, and somebody will be like Mark Langston, and I'll be like, yeah, Tim Salmon.
Oh God!
Or, like Eric Hansen, or like it all comes from baseball cards because I loved baseball cards when I was a kid. I loved football cards, basketball cards, hockey cards, all that stuff. So I kept a really close eye on my collection, I guess, is the answer to that. So yeah, I just
And now you're a millionaire from having
that's the way
all
it's
of them,
supposed
'cause
to
that's
work.
what happened, right? God.
Yeah. Wait, are you telling me my
As long
pogs
as you
aren't
have
still
elf
worth
pogs.
stuff? Oh, I still have that and all the
Nice.
slammers. I have it all.
Now, did you ever wind up like just saying I got to get rid of this shit and either selling it real quick or just throwing it all away? Or do you still have them like in a box?
Most
in, like,
of
the
my
corner
baseball
your attic
cards are
somewhere?
back at my parents' house in Minnesota. But I do have the cards. For a while in my 20s, I was on a big collector's binge for Hall of Famer rookie cards. So anybody in the baseball Hall of Fame, I wanted their rookie card. And I ended up getting like guys like Don Sutton and just these dudes from like the 60s and the 70s, Tony Perez and
Yeah.
it's guys I didn't even grow up with at all. Tim Raines got in the Hall of Fame. Now I got to go backwards and go get Tim Raines rookie cards. So, but yeah, no, I still want those cards, but the cards that I had as a kid in like albums and shit that are worthless, no, I want nothing to do with those anymore. No thanks.
Nice. And and when I asked the question about the Super NES versus beer, or I should say alcohol, we've asked this question to a few people, and one of the interesting things that's always come up is they're I look at older generations than us, or like our parents, our grandparents, and while you may still turn on a game every once in a while, I feel like one thing that never goes away is like the occasional just wanting a beer,
Sure,
or wanting a drink, no matter how old you get. But I feel like playing video games eventually just does go away. And I don't know, like, because I feel like our generation is really the true ones that, like, we've
Might be
almost
lifers.
always had them. Yeah, we've
Yes.
always had games in our lives from when we were born till who knows when we die. And I'm curious to see, like, when we are 70 or something, are we still going to want to turn on a system? Like, who knows?
I know people in
I
their
don't know.
50s that are still talking about games. They're still playing arcade games. There's people that go to the bar that has arcade games that's here in Albuquerque, and they still want to play. Yeah, oh yeah, they still want to play
Still
Ninja
doing it.
Turtles. What are the other games there? There's a bunch of what games most people want to play now are pinball games. That's become kind of a resurgence down here, at least in the Southwest. There's like there's a restoration thing down
Nice.
here that I found out about recently that has been interesting. But I don't know. Speaking for myself, it's bring on all the game, every game of any kind, even if it's that weird wooden labyrinth game you're talking about earlier in the podcast, like an hour ago. I still want to play that. I want to beat it. It'll take me like 6 hours, but I'll beat it. I want to play that. I want to play NES. I want to play SNES. I want to play any arcade stuff. Yeah, I've always been like that. Like, I guess it's because my sister, I'm the youngest of three, so, and my sister was the one that had the Atari 2600, and, damn, like, when I saw that as a kid, I was just like, really, I gotta sit here and watch them play this? Like, I can't play it myself. But yeah, no, I really want to. I know Frogs and Flies.
Frogs and Flies.
Pitfall,
Let me play Frogs and Flies.
Adventure, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Even though I couldn't figure out how to play that ever, it needs both controllers. I couldn't.
No one could.
Both joysticks. I couldn't figure that out. But yeah, no, I exactly. I just it's been interesting. No, that's a good question though. We are the first generation that is going to need to play video games when we're in our 60s and 70s and when we're crapping our pants and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Assuming we're not doing
Nervous
that now.
laugh there. I heard a nervous
Damn it,
laugh.
Jim.
I don't know what you're talking about. But no,
all right,
and we're
Alex.
not even like those. We're not even like those people like on Atari age who are like still the fanatics and they're in their like 60s and 70s. Like it almost feels like it's almost a different generation where it's like not to say quote unquote real games, but just the leap that we've had. That like we're still gonna be like we can have an appreciation from Atari to now.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the people from that generation they like kind of cut
Right,
off.
exactly.
Like they're
That's a
NES
good
if you're
point,
lucky.
yeah. We go back. Yeah, that's. There's a time table, I guess, involved there. That's tough to pinpoint. I don't know.
All right, Alex. So the last hypothetical for this, and I think I've zoned in on where you're at with all this, but I want to. Hopefully, this is a tougher one for you. So, if you had the option to get right now, gift it to you every single Super NES, including every Super Famicom, every rare export of the system, closed in box, sealed, perfect condition game, but you're not allowed to play any other system.
Yeah, give me SNES Super Famicom.
Would you take
That's
that
fine.
deal?
I don't care, and that includes. That includes
And
arcade.
that
That
includes
modern
arcades,
stuff.
that
That includes
includes-
everything. Go ahead. I don't care.
Yep.
I'm fine. You guys have.
So, but what about your precious Fall Guys?
You guys have fun with Fall Guys. I'm out of here. I'm gonna play.
And
Griffey.
he's still
I'm
just
gonna
gonna play
play
Ken
my
Griffey the whole
18th
goddamn time.
season of Ken Griffey Jr. 162 games. No, I love. It's just it's what I tell people is that Super Nintendo wasn't just a hobby for me; it was the hobby. It became the thing for me from day one. So that kind of never stopped. It's hence what I ended up doing online. So it's
What you're doing,
that's not just a thing. That's like kind of what I do. So I don't know. Right on.
No, I respect that. I like that because we've asked a few buddies. One of them was a big Sega fanatic, and even I don't think he could.
I don't play
part
anything
with
modern
everything
anyway.
else,
Like,
even-
look at me talking about Fall Guys. Like, what am I? 12 years old? Like, jeez. Like, I don't really. I really don't. I just watch my girlfriend play. She's into Ghost of Tsushima. Is it Tsushima or Tsushima or something?
Okay.
Like that? I don't even know the freaking name of the game.
I'm
for
not
God's
even
sake.
attempting
But
it.
no,
Ghost of
but yeah, no.
It's,
I
sashimi.
watched her play that, and it looks
Yeah.
freaking awesome because it's like open world and you can choose your missions and all. The combat is freaking cool as shit, and it's awesome looking. And it's like I would suck balls at that game. I would be so bad, and I would get so frustrated. But I just like the simplicity of the games I grew up with, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm sure I would feel like I'm missing out on stuff, but I don't care. That's fine.
But all in all, that's one you're willing to fully. And like I said, I like that. I like the, as you're saying, you are truly dedicated to Super. It's not just a fad. It's not you didn't pick it for the ease of.
It's
this is
my
what I like.
hobby.
No,
I
like
think
it.
the official count is over. It's like 1,100, or it's like 1,034 or something like that. And only about 70 something of those games are pachinko games. So that leaves me with like 900 and something actual.
We have 900 games
that
to
are worth
potentially
playing.
play through.
Yeah, it's no. The thing I would miss, what's funny is like when I think about that, the thing I would miss the most is Game Boy, the original Game Boy, because I grew up with that too. I love the original Game Boy. It's one of my favorite systems, and there's a whole bunch of Japanese Game Boy games I never have gotten to play, like I just saw a video from Boyle Graphic from Game Boy from Game Boyle rather the other day about Godzilla, that freaking Godzilla game where he's like bouncing around as a platformer. You know, like what the hell is this? Like this is crazy. More people need to know about this game. This is awesome. You know.
Perfect character for the Game Boy with all the
Nice.
green on there
Nicely
too.
done there.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and there's all sorts of other stuff, like Kid Dracula. That's another Konami game that
Oh yeah.
I guess that did come out in the U.S. though, didn't it? Kid Dracula did for Game Boy.
Yeah, they took the swastika off the head of that one boss.
No, I was thinking of the NES one. That's my bad, but still, it did. Yeah.
Oh no, I think did that come
It did come out on NES in addition to
Yeah, you're right.
Game Boy, but it got released only for Game Boy. I don't know what the hell was going on with Konami in the late 80s, early 90s, because they were all over the map. I guess they thought, like, oh, let's just make this a Game Boy exclusive for sales or something. For reasons, yeah.
For reasons, yeah, for hype.
Stupid.
But I mean, I guess Konami back then, they were so good. They're like, look, we're gonna make money anyway.
Yeah,
It
even
doesn't
back
matter.
then.
Just throw this shit over there.
So that will lead us to. I'm switching the order here because I think it's going to be very easy for you to answer.
It's a good transition.
But yeah, so one of our reoccurring bits on here is we say which is better, where we pick two things and compare them. And obviously with you, we knew we were throwing the Super NES up there, and it's a little too obvious to go Genesis because Super NES is way better than Genesis.
Shut the fuck up. I think we established last episode that the Genesis was way better in a lot of ways.
We didn't, Jim, and every time we've done a poll, everyone agrees Super NES is better. But putting that aside,
Polls are bullshit. You can't trust them. Fake.
which is better between the Super NES and NES? And for the purpose of the argument or discussion, if you will, you can take into account historical context, because if you do strictly technical specs, there's no contest. So weighing in historical impact and all that, which do you think is better?
Super Nintendo. You could put like
So
you can put
I'm shocked.
like
I am
literally
shocked.
Shocker.
literally anything.
Wait, do we have the right guy on?
Everything else combined versus Super Nintendo, and I'm going Super Nintendo. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't go that far, but no, it's Super Nintendo.
Jim just shit his pants.
Like
a little bit.
SNES versus DOS or like Amiga or something. You know, I don't know. Yeah.
No, now we're not talking to any
Amiga
of the
would
Brits
get
here,
like
so
stomped.
we
My
don't have to worry
face
about
is
that.
Curb stomped or something. But, yeah, exactly.
You don't like the Specky?
I've dealt with that firsthand, by the way. Oh my god.
Oh, so have we, and we're way smaller than you, and even we get the what are you doing shitting on the Specky?
The
We're
what?
just like, come on now.
Yeah.
We they call it the Specky because it's their little thing that costs like $30, and the games took 20 minutes to load, and had like 2 colors, and it sounded like shit. It played like shit, but you know,
Damn it,
enjoyed
Jim!
that. What? They're Weird Islanders, and they had nothing else. All right.
Jim, let
was
the man
done.
finish his
I was
point.
done.
I'm sorry. I let my blatant English racism
I just wanted
come
to
out.
say that Amiga is trash. No, I'm just kidding. That'll get the views.
So Alex, all right. So one thing I always do with
Yeah.
Jim is I do devil's advocate. No matter what his point is, I'll pick the opposite. So the only argument I would say with the NES, if you were going to say that was better, for a couple reasons. One, it's basically a thing that saved home console game sales after the big crash of the gaming market. And it kind of reinvigorated a whole new generation and really changed the way that gaming is done. And when you think of the original console, obviously there was tons. The Magnavox Odyssey, the Fairchild was the first with actual cartridges. Like, you go back and then Atari. But really, NES, like, to most people's knowledge, you think that's like the real standard for gaming. And with Nintendo creating all those first-party games that basically have lived on still to today, and a lot of them were passed through the Super NES, I feel like historically those games just what it did just set such a friggin' foundation for what Nintendo is, that would be an argument of why that is actually better than the Super NES.
I think you could make an argument for the Sega Master System that did something similar on a worldwide perspective from back then, because the NES was really a huge success in the United States. It was not that big of a success in Europe, and it was not that big of a success in South America, and not sure how it did in Japan after
It was a big
after
success
a
as
certain
a Famicom,
point, though.
yeah.
And I know Sega was basically a flop, and I just realized that as I'm talking. But no, I know there's not that many. That's the tricky part of it, though, is that the folks in Europe and the folks in South America was a big hit for Sega, but Europe was playing mostly computer stuff, like you were just talking about all those freaking systems. God, there were like 50 of them. It seems like. Oh
Well, you're not just bringing up the BBC Micro? Come on now.
My God, you're
Cultured
gonna
swine.
say like that. But yeah, no, that would be my only. Yeah, that's all I got. That's my weak argument. It gets that. Yeah, no.
No, I know what you're saying.
But I mean, the NES did have the two
Yeah.
biggest markets, though, where it
US
was the
and
big
Japan.
seller. Like, you have
And
the
let-
U.S. and Japan. You don't need the South Americas and the Englands of the world.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
go
don't know
have
what
fun.
else
Go have fun with your
is,
things.
what else to say about that. All I know is
Now,
that
let me
the
just
Super
be clear
Nintendo
on one
was
thing.
the natural. When it comes to listen. Okay, let me put it this way. I just thought of something here. What powers would you rather have if you were Mega Man X? Would you rather have just the regular Mega Man X powers, or would you rather have the Mega Man X2 powers, where he can dash in midair and he's got a double freaking arm cannon charge and all that sort of stuff? That's like NES versus SNES. It's like Mega Man X versus Mega Man X2. The SNES is so much more powerful. It's such an advancement over its predecessor that it's like, why am I going to bother with this? Why not just wait for the SNES and just like, I'll do this instead of that and take my lumps in the meantime. I'll just suffer through my Sega Master System or my Amiga or my Speccy or whatever the hell that thing is called. But yeah, that's where I'm going with that. That's my argument. And I'm sticking.
No, let me be very clear, Alex. I threw out the devil's advocate of why you could argue NES, but for me, I would say Super NES is better, not just for technical things, but the things I liked that it did was, one, the controller. It wasn't like the shitty Genesis controller where you actually had every button you need and creating shoulder buttons, and it was one of the best design controllers. It's one of my favorite, the dog bone design. But on top of that, for Nintendo, the leap from generation to generation, I think it yielded the best games for all their first-party games. And even some that just, like, I think, I personally, the Mario game, Super Metroid, Super Castlevania, all those, to me, are such a better leap and are arguably still the best games, like, even depending on how you feel, the Zelda games, like all of them are the best for that system, and it was such a leap. Whereas from that to the N64, the games, it was what it was. But yeah, and the Super NES is the last system for Nintendo that I feel like has the best longevity of. It still looks and sounds the best. There are some classic NES games that will always, you can't fuck with, and you can't say they're bad, but there are some ones that age really poorly. So I don't know. I would still go with the Super NES, but like I said, I threw out the devil's advocate. Now I'm curious, Jim, since we know you're a Super NES hater because you think that's a system only for since you think it's a system only for JRPGs, What is your take on this?
Ooh.
No, Brian, I just say people only like it because they cried at Final Fantasy VI's opera scene when they were 10, and they never got over it because they're little babies. But if I'm going to be serious about it here, like, I'm the wild card here because I have no nostalgia for really either the NES or the Super NES. And, like, while I do hate RPGs, but even beyond that point, I got to go with the Super NES because it's still, like, I have a pretty sizable, like the same size collection for both systems, and I just pop in games on the Super NES way more. Like the NES, just as a person who doesn't have the nostalgia for it, it doesn't grab me as much. I'd probably rather play the Master System over the NES, really. Maybe because it's a little bit weirder, but
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know.
don't even throw that in there, Jim, because you're just fucking up your argument. But keep
Look,
going.
Brian, I'm trying to bring the English people back to me. Obviously,
No,
I'm united, not
and that's
divided,
only
Brian.
Brazilians. Come on, what are you doing?
By the way, it's funny you say that about
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VI because the review I made about that game, which is almost 7 years
My-
old now,
I- yes.
complains about why are people
that everyone
crying
talks
this
about
opera scene
that no one talked about on the
barely has
playground,
anything
but
to do with
all of
the
a sudden
story
everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is
because
the most monumental
that everyone talks
event
about,
in all of
and-
16-bit gaming." It's like, what? Where'd this come from?
And it's like, can you explain why? It's like, no.
The same,
because
the same
it's an
way,
opera
you
scene
know,
in a
the
Super
same way
Nintendo
everyone
game.
loved the
It's
Saturn
not a
when it's the
reason. That's
system
just
that
a
no one
thing that
had
happened.
back in the fifth
Okay? That's-
generation.
Sure. No, it's and that always bothered me about that. It was just
Thank you.
It's screw that, and I've been
But
saying
yeah,
that
no,
for
but
years and years. I'm just saying I have your
Yeah,
back
but I mean, like,
on
I
this-
use that
on
as like my little
standpoint.
trolley
It's
arguing
such
point.
trash.
But yeah, like overall, like if I'm gonna
You're
play
not alone.
either of them, I'm just gonna go to the Super NES. Maybe if I want to play like an older shmup, I'll hit the NES because we talked about last week. A lot of them on the Super NES are pretty rough. Not named Axelay or Space Mega Force or UN Squadron, but exactly right. They are the good ones. Those are the ones to go for. But like,
Ooh.
yeah, like
Ooh.
I would rather go play
Those are all great
Gradius on
games.
the NES or Life Force or Salamander, whichever ones you want to call it, than any of those. But then again, I have a TurboGrafx, so I'll just go there anyway. But I'm also
yeah,
weird,
but that
so.
game, that system sucks. But anyway, keep
How
going.
dare
Jim.
you, sir? But yeah, no, I mean my
goodness.
answer is Super E NES.
Okay. I
'Cause
was curious to see if you would throw in something different. But
No, because like it's like you said, like I like World better than 3. Actually, Alex, for you, what do you like more, World or 3 for Super Mario? My man.
Oh, World. But it's not fair to ask me because it's hard to separate my experiences from World and looking
Yeah.
at them.
But I mean,
Objectively,
I would always go Super Metroid
it's
over the
very,
original
very,
and
very,
Link to the
very, very
Past
tough
over the
for
original
me to do
Zelda.
that.
And, like,
yeah.
So, but I think. Oh my God, Super Metroid is such a leap, and Link to the Past is
yeah,
a
because
huge
they're
leap, too.
because they're
And
made
Mega
to be
Man
like,
X
you know,
is a huge
complete
leap
games
over
and
any
not
Mega Man game
sellers
on
for Nintendo powers.
NES, in
so.
my opinion.
And then that was, like I said, that's my
Yes.
point. I can't think of a better
Exactly.
generation.
Oh, exactly,
Where
yeah.
all those titles we just named and others, where it was so clear they're so much better on the new console. Because I would argue, Link to the Past. I mean, you can have the people that argue Ocarina of Time or whatever, but like, in general, I think those hold up so much better.
The
than
tides
any
have turned.
other generational leap that it's tough to argue against.
It seems most have gone back to Link to the Past, or even maybe not even Breath of the Wild, because that was like loved for a little bit, and now everyone seems to hate it now. But yeah, like Link to the Past, like it kind of like took away the crown again from Ocarina as the one people like really like. It's weird, like they kind of like fist fight every 5 years over which one people think is the best.
Well, I mean, the sheer depth of the amount of franchises that went from NES to SNES. You've even got stuff like Legend of the Mystical Ninja, the Goemon games. You've got Castlevania. You've got Contra.
Any
You've
day.
got like a million Konami franchises. You've got Super Ghouls and Ghosts over Ghosts and Goblins. I mean,
And
it just keeps going. Like it's just one
Yeah.
after another after another after another.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's
while
just
you also
Final Fantasy.
you know,
I mean, Jesus.
the
I mean,
NES
you
had
gotta say-
amazing soundtracks, but I mean, Super NES, Donkey Kong Country, any of the RPGs, Killer Instinct. Like, you throw out any of these soundtracks that are just holy shit. And it just changed the way also I feel like, you would want to listen to that music outside of the game itself. Because I still have my Killer Instinct CD that came with the game. So it's just like, it was just a game changer for all those reasons.
Yeah, I'd say the 16-bit era probably of like all the ones before PS2. I'd say that one holds up the best just in terms for all the consoles in terms of like quality, leap forward from the systems before, blah blah blah. It was like that perfect little niche of gaming.
Yeah. So, all right, we all agree on this one, but like I said, I was just curious because Jim, I thought you'd be a little more of a wild card.
No, I part of me wanted to say NES because it has more of the style of games that I would like to play, but at the end of the day, the Super NES is what I go back to more, so that's what I had to go with.
Gotcha. All right, and then Alex, our last topic is another reoccurring bit. So we got overrated, underrated, and it's very simple. Just it could be a million different things, but today it's actually Golden Tee Golf. Now, Jim, I saw you wrote in here, Snarcast says it's overrated. Did
He's the one who
suggested topic?
Yeah,
okay.
Our buddy Snarcast Todd, he suggested it to us for Golden Tee Golf. So I was like, all right, man, I'll throw it in there. And he says overrated. So,
and I'll let Alex go, but before I do, I'm gonna agree with him. It's overrated.
I guess overrated. I mean, I've only played it in the arcade a couple times.
The tracking
I like
ball,
the rolling,
or whatever it's called. Yeah,
what do you call it? The Marble Madness ball in the middle. Yeah, I always call it the Marble Madness ball. Yeah, it's. I don't think it's bad.
There's some
is it rated
diehards
highly?
for it.
Like,
Yeah.
I guess this is like over my head a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
and Jim, am I wrong?
I never
in
realized
thinking
like
you're one of
people
them?
I'm
are
not
there
a
really
diehard for it, but I'll get to my opinion.
Yeah. No, I know where Jim is going with his.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, the thing is that I love golf games because I grew up playing. Golf with my dad as a kid, and I grew up
Hot
playing
Shots
like
Golf,
Microsoft
PGA
Golf
Tour, and the Genesis
on PC.
Yeah.
I grew up playing. What were some other ones? Oh, Hot Shots Golf on PS2. Oh God, all the names.
Oh, God.
On PGA Tour, like freaking like Corey Pavin,
Greg Stadler,
and like all those guys, Mark McCumber, all those guys. Yeah. No, it's I do like golf games, but I was never all that enthralled with Golden Tee. I guess I like the 3-click system that a console game permits. It's funny you guys asked this because I just got. A few weeks ago, I got Mario Sports Superstars for 3DS. I got it for free, like from my like Amazon points.
Nice.
And I was just like, fine, it's less than $20. I'm gonna get this because I haven't gotten a 3DS game in I don't know how long, like freaking years. So I'm just gonna get this because I love sports games, and this seems harmless enough. It's a game you play on the toilet. So. I'm going to play this, and sure enough, the golf version of that game is pretty damn awesome. Like, it's pretty fun, and I've unlocked the star character for 4 of the 16 characters in that game, or 12. It's either 12 or 16. I can't do math properly, but there's like rows of a certain amount of characters. Yeah, I don't know, but there's a certain amount of characters in there. I've unlocked 4 of them. I've unlocked Rosalina, Bowser, DK, and Wario. All the power guys that hit like 300 yards. Because I'm like Dustin Johnson. Like, I just freaking go up there and just clobber the ball. Mm-hmm. And, I can't play as like Mario or Peach or any of those people any of those characters because, it's just not fun. But if I'm playing as any of the big kahunas, heck yeah, that's super fun because then you can just hit over mountains and stuff like that. That's awesome. But Golden Tee. To answer your question, Golden Tee, not that much opinion. I'll say it's overrated.
Yeah, and just to, because I know Jim will go underrated, I think the reason I would say overrated is I actually always enjoyed playing it, but it was only because most times it was all that was left in a bar. And basically,
It was either that or the hunting game, right?
well, it was that, the hunting game, or maybe a pinball machine. And the pinball machine would be only so fun for so long.
And it would be a good one. It was like NBA, like the generic one,
it
was
was
like 2006.
Yeah.
Or Kiss.
Yeah,
Kiss
it would be
was
something
around.
that was like, okay, but like Golden Tee was always like, I wouldn't like always, but I'm like, if I really wanted to play, like that is almost in every bar. So it's like you'd play it and you'd be like, okay, like you're saying, Alex, it was fun for a little bit, but it was nothing I would ever like be crazy about. And I know part of the reason why Todd brought this up, and Jim, you were mentioning like wanting to get this for the home version that they're releasing. It's not as well done as other golf games, and I'm not even like Jim is the one that loves golf games. Like he's got a boner for them, like you won't believe. But he sucks at them because I already beat him in a drinking game. And I know nothing about
Fuck you,
golf.
motherfucker.
And I know nothing.
Fuck you. Shut the fuck up.
I know nothing about golf.
I told you
and
what
here-
goddamn clubs to use, you piece of shit. We were playing
But it's
golf
the
on the Game Boy
the
that doesn't hold your
execute-
hand, and you're like,
wait,
what
wait,
should
wait,
I
wait.
use here?
Jim, but here's the deal.
Fugazi. Fugazi.
The excellence was in the execution, not in the
Oh,
selection
similar to
of-
Bret the Hitman Hart.
That's right. Not in the selection of the clubs. Yes, you told me the clubs, but I still had to make the shots, didn't I? And you just choked, so I did better than you. And
piece
you're
of
the
dog
golf
shit.
guy, so it's one of those deals.
I
where
held your hand. Goddamn.
listen, there's video evidence, Jim. People can watch for
There
themselves.
sure the fuck is, isn't there?
But at the end, just like I beat you in Street Rage 2. But that's not important. Either way.
My goodness.
But
It always devolves into this.
But yeah, no, it is overrated. I mean, to say it's underrated would be silly because I think the people that are diehards about it just probably had one too many drunk fun stories of playing it at a bar. But really, if you take it at its face value of an actual game, if you brought it home, it would run out really fast.
Think about what you would do at a bar. Like, I think I'd rather play pool at an actual pool table than play Golden Tee, honestly, like if that's my only option. That's just me, though. And then, like, and this has happened at least a few times, where, like, some, like, rando will come up and, I'll play you! And then he plays, and he's fucking terrible, and you have to freaking wait for his terrible shots, and, oh, my God, it just takes forever, and, yeah, it's the worst. But,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, at that point, I'd rather play Golden Tee, but I hear you on that. I think I'd rather play darts than Golden Tee, because at least, I don't know, that's a tough call, darts or Golden Tee. What would you guys rather do, darts or Golden Tee?
I mean, I would do darts.
Darts, for sure.
You guys are doing darts? Okay.
Yeah.
Then
I would rather do the punching machine than Golden Tee.
Wow, what bars are you guys going to?
Bry was that
all
guy.
they had
Bry was that
in
guy who would stand all night at the punching machine, and he'd get fucking sauced up, and he'd be like, "Oh, what? You want to come up here?" And some guy would come up and try to be like, "Oh, I could be you, pussy." And Bry'd be like, "All right, pussy, fucking try it." And then he'd be there for like 3 hours straight.
But Jim, the point you're missing in all that, was I setting records?
Sure,
Was
Brian.
I
Yes, you
setting
were.
records?
Yes, you.
And did you ever set records in Golden Tee, Jim? Because I know you're going to say it's underrated.
No, I never set any records in that shit.
So let's hear
Look,
why
Brian.
it's underrated, Jim.
Yes, to be devil's advocate. First off, back to Alex's point, I don't think anyone really rates it. Like, I don't hear people running around going, "God damn, Golden Tee is good shit." Like,
You do.
who? When have I ever said that?
You talk about it all the time. As soon as you heard it was out for the console, you got a mega boner.
No, and actually, this isn't the first time Golden Tee's come home, because I happen to own one of the mid-2000s plug-and-plays of Golden Tee. It's not bad for what it is. But here's why Golden Tee's underrated. Because you can't go in with these crazy high expectations of it being a good game. Golden Tee is like your drunk barfly buddy. Like, he's the guy who you would never hang out with really outside of the bar, but when you're going to the bar and you have nothing else going on, you see him there and you go, "Oh shit, I have someone to hang out with for the night." That's what Golden Tee is. That's the gaming version of it. It's not your first choice, but it's all dependable. It's someone you can spend a little bit of time with there, and as long as you don't, man, this is just sounding sadder and sadder, isn't it? But
I was gonna say, when are you going to the bar by yourself, trying to hopefully find a friend?
not anymore. Not anymore, Brian. But no, it's the guy that like Golden Tee is that guy when like you get to you're planning with your buddies to go out to the bar, but you get there too early. But there's that like random associate mutual friend that's like a friend of a friend who's always at the bar because you always have that one bar friend who's like kind of an alcoholic and he's always there anyway. So it's like, oh, I can hang out with this guy for a little bit until my real friends get here. That's what Golden Tee is. That's why it's underrated, because it's that thing that's there that's like, I can spend a little time with this and not feel completely alone and awkward.
So it supports your lonely alcoholism, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And for a page like Gary's, that seems like it's perfect. So that's why it's underrated.
Well, as always, Jim, we're going to let the people decide who is right in the assessment.
I think I have a chance this time, Brian. I think I have a good chance on this one.
We'll see. I mean, your record isn't great, but it's fine. But,
It's not a contest. What are we saying?
yeah, it's not like the drinking game of golf where I beat you. It's not like that.
My goodness.
So with that, Alex, before we do our closeout thing, I do want to say we truly appreciate you coming back. We know we had some of those technical errors last time.
Yeah,
Hey, I
thanks
made
so
it
much,
the whole
man.
time.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow, look at me.
Goddamn Comcast held out.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Yeah, you know why? Because the highest it got was 90 degrees today.
Oh,
There you go. Only
It
90.
it didn't get over 100 today, honest to God.
Embrace
But no,
it, savor it.
we truly appreciate it, and we definitely in the future want to have you on again because
Of course.
we like talking with you. We really appreciate it, and we have all your links below. But before Jim goes into his thing, plug away anything you want to throw out there for anyone to listen to or watch.
Drunk Fred Podcast. It's another podcast that you guys do. It's competing against this very I'm just kidding. It's not competing against this podcast. There's
Crushing
not
us. It's not a competition.
there's not a moratorium. There's not an ultimatum like you must choose your destiny.
Yeah.
It's not like a Mortal Kombat kind of a thing. You need to or any of that. But no, it's a podcast I do with my friend Trav. And just go to polykill.com, look for Drunk Friend, and look at, they do all sorts of crazy stuff at that website anyway. They find, they look at the stories behind games like Resident Evil and are like, what if we looked at this from like a modern perspective? And, it's just all sorts of silly stuff within, there's a, let me find the freaking name of that damn podcast. Hang on. I can never remember the name of it. It's like Tales of something.
Tales of the Lesser Medium.
Yes, Tales of the Lesser... God, you knew it, and I didn't. I'm pathetic. But no, I'm sorry. Okay, when I search Tales of the Lesser Medium, why is Rick Wakeman the third... Rick
What?
Wakeman.
Wait, isn't he the... Who the... I
The
know that
New
name.
Age artist.
Yeah.
The guy, he's like Yanni. Yeah. When I search Tales of the Lesser Medium, Rick Wakeman, I'm not even kidding. I'll take a fucking screenshot of this. For
What
God's
is
sake.
your YouTube algorithm doing?
I don't know what anything is doing, but I'm gonna show you guys this right now, if I can. I'm gonna send it to your Twitter thing. But like, all I did was search Tales, and the first thing that should show up is Tales of the Lesser Medium because you follow each other. And the third option is Rick frickin' Wakeman. And if you folks don't know who Rick Wakeman is, he's like a 70s, icon of, he's like Brian Eno-ish type, How do you describe Rick Wakeman?
Like, I know I've heard him, and I've heard of
Yeah,
him, but
exactly.
I can't describe him.
British guy that's always playing, like sleepy music that's very Yanni-ish, but it's like ASMR-ish, only he's like 70s-ish. It's very ish music, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that's the thing I want to plug is Rick Wakeman.
And let me just speak for Alex here, as he said. make sure you go listen. He's had a lot of great guests, and it is a great podcast. And we definitely fully support it here. So if you haven't already, make sure to go over, subscribe, check it out, and follow these guys.
And we actually have a little bit of shared history with your podcast too, because for both of our shows, our first guest was Dan from Console Wars.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dan's
That guy
great,
is such a good time. I can't help but drink way too much when that dude is on, and I end up like a sloppy mess at the end. It's pathetic.
Oh, dude, you should try drinking in person with him. As
Oh,
we've done
man, I bet that guy
few
can hold
times.
this liquor for
We
sure.
we room with him at too many games. We did it
Oh,
last year.
no way!
Yeah.
Yep.
No way.
We lost
Hey.
Jim in the middle of the night because
Yeah, I bitched out so bad. I went to
Hey,
go
that
pee behind a
reminds
bush
me.
and I lost everyone, and we were literally
Can-
10 feet apart.
I was gonna ask you guys if you want to come on Drunk Friend. Would that be cool?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, absolutely, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. You should come on Drunk Friend. Me and Trav will talk to you. We'll bullshit about dogs, beer, things.
Whatever you want to talk about.
What were you guys talking about earlier? The Stone lawsuit.
That lawsuit?
Yep.
We could be your experts on that lawsuit.
Oh my God! I need expert witnesses. I need all that stuff.
I think
It's
we're the
so
only people
stupid.
covering it, so we can be you guys.
Now, we would gladly do that. We appreciate that, bud. But yeah, and hopefully we saw you were mentioning some things. If you ever do make it to East Coast, especially any con, you gotta let us know, because us three and Dan, and we need to get together and have a full, legit drink-a-thon.
There's usually a freaking MagFest out there, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like Baltimore-ish, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
Baltimore.
my destination if I were to go out there. So I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Hopefully,
sure.
hopefully by next year when the coof settles
Yes.
down a little bit, we can all hang out and just get obliterated together.
100%.
But once again, thank you. We really appreciate it. And Jim, plug away.
Once again, everyone, check the links below, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. Also, other links. Check some of our video game reviews. Go to Teespring, where we have all of our merch. Check some of our videos and our website, DrinkABeerandPlayAGame.com, where you can check out the tier lists that we do on Patreon. You can check out our separate beer reviews because they don't really make good YouTube videos. So we stick all the beer reviews over there, as well as whatever random bullshit we like to come up with. So yeah, check the links below. Check everything for Alex. Make sure you click it all because it's all good stuff.
Absolutely. And until next time, guys, we just want to say thank you all and cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.